This is the start of a video series where I rehab this vintage Coach Willis bag and I take you guys along with me step by step. This first video is going to be all about assessing the bag and prepping it for a bath because yes, she does need a bath and you'll see why by the end of this video. Now we're seeing some heavy patina, scratching, a ton of verdigris oxidation on the hardware, a lot of dryness on the edges as well. And anytime you rehab one of these vintage Coach bags, you're going to want to do a little assessment at the beginning like this to figure out what it needs. This one needs a bath and the hardware needs to be cleaned up and the inside needs to be cleaned out as well. Yours might not need all of those things. This is kind of like a more worst case scenario bag since it's pretty beat up. Now looking at the creed, we can see that this is a pre-1994 bag made in the United States, and we know that because the serial number is in a format that we see pre-1994 and it doesn't have the bag's style number in the serial number, which happened after 1994. That's why if you Google this style number, you'll come up with nothing. That usually means that your bag is just older, not inauthentic. Now again, if your bag is in better condition than this one, you won't need to go through all the same steps that I am. I chose this bag intentionally because she needed a lot of work and I wanted to show you guys all the different steps that I possibly could. So first thing I'm going to do to prep this for a bath is divest her of all her hardware. Unclip the strap, pull out a little screwdriver. This one is for glasses, I believe, and I have something similar linked in my Amazon if you would like that. And you're going to want to unscrew all these posts gently. You don't want to strip the screw until they're easy to pull out like this. And then the rings just pop right off like that. Put this to the side in a safe place because we're going to come back to all these hardware pieces. But for now, you're going to repeat this process everywhere there's a post and a ring on the bag. Now your bag might be a different style, it might have different hardware. Most of the hardware can come off and get cleaned, not all of it can. Some is permanently attached depending on the style you have, so just keep that in mind if you're working on a different style. Once you've popped out all of these posts and pulled off these rings, for the top handle it's going to be a little bit different because these have to get pulled out of the handle, no biggie. Now you're going to see there's a lot of verdigris oxidation on these rings. I'm going to show you an up close here. It looks gross, but I promise you it's just natural metal oxidation and it comes off very easily. Although I don't usually see this much on a piece of hardware. That was kind of cool, but also kind of gross. But like I said, don't worry, it's fine. It's really nothing to be squeamish about. Pull this one out as well. And again, set these off to the side after you marvel at how much dang verdigris oxidation is on there. Next, we're going to tackle the turn lock on the front. And I'm sure you've probably seen other people do this. It's not rocket science. These just have 4 prongs that need to be pried up. Again, gently, and don't move too quickly here because you don't want to like accidentally scratch yourself. Sometimes these prongs are really freaking stuck down. So you need quite a bit of force to pull them up, but don't be too forceful because they can break if they get old and brittle. Here I'm again using the flathead of my eyeglass screwdriver, but you can go ahead and use a regular flathead if you have that on hand, or a flat dinner plate knife, or even the edge of a scissor I've used sometimes. The edge of a box cutting knife can work well. If the prongs are stubborn, I like to start with the easiest one I can get lifted and then work on the second easiest one and then so on. And as soon as I get at least 3 of them loose, I start to wriggle free that washer, which is the flat piece on the back of this hole for the turn lock grommet that is on the front here. I start to wiggle that as soon as I can and then pop that out. You'll see me do that here in a second. Once you do that, if there's any stubborn prongs that just were really hard to get under in order to lift, you'll be able to do that once that washer pops out. Again, you're going to see a lot of verdigris buildup here, and that is just oxidation of the brass hardware. It's similar to rust with other types of metals. It's just a particular kind of rust that happens with these brass pieces. In another video, we're going to clean and polish this, but you're going to see how easily this comes off. You don't even need a special product. It literally just wipes right off. Once the washer pops out, again, pull up any more difficult prongs that gave you a problem in the beginning, and then you should be able to wriggle free this front grommet and get it out of this front tab. This is going to allow us to clean and condition the leather all around and under these hardware pieces during this process. It always makes me think of like cleaning behind your stove or cleaning behind your dishwasher. You kind of have to pull it out and clean up the floor and then put it back in. And you get this peace of mind that like it's clean under there. That's kind of what we're doing here. We're getting our peace of mind here that we're going to make sure all the leather is clean. Go ahead and add that to your hardware pile over there. And then the last piece we're going to get out is this bottom turn lock piece. It's a little bit more simple, but it's the same principle as the grommet. It's just two prongs on the back that need to be pried open, and a little oval washer as well that they grab onto. So once you start to loosen those prongs, you can kind of wriggle free this front piece little by little, carefully, gently, and then that washer should pop right off as well. This is technically easier to do, I think, than the grommet, but it's just harder to show on camera because it is stuck in that front pocket. Once you get this hardware out, add it to your hardware pile off to the side. That's going to be a separate video again. Don't worry about the verdigris. And the last step that we're going to prep here is to clean out the inside a little bit. If this bag was in better condition, maybe we could get away with just like a suede brush and a little bit of vacuuming to clean the inside, but it's not the best and it's kind of dirty. So I'm actually going to go in with my hand vacuum. This is also linked in my Amazon if you're interested. It's a really good investment. I actually use it a bit in rehab and just in general whenever you need like a quick vacuum in the photo area. See, here's a loose piece of paper there that needs to come out. You want to do this again before you submerge the bag in water. The water bath is going to get even more out of the seams and crevices of the bag and the pockets. But the vacuum is going to start us off and just get any kind of loose pieces and detritus that's already in there out. And then once we go through the bathing process, you will see it's really going to clean out the seams. I thought this back pocket was a really good example to show you guys of why sometimes bathing is super necessary. Look at all that weird junk and crud in that corner, okay? Yeah, gross. I don't want to flip this bag with that kind of stuff going on in the pocket. So I'm going to go in right now with the little vacuum and the little bristles on to try to loosen up and get anything in there that could possibly get loose and sucked up into the vacuum. And you're going to see there is an immediate improvement, but it's definitely not enough. It's not clean enough for me and definitely not something I'd feel comfortable reselling. So that's why we're going to move on to the next step, which is going to be bathing. And now she's all ready to go. Stay tuned for part 2. And if you like this content, like, follow, share, and subscribe. Thanks for watching.